Hi, Angie here from Crafts at Home. Welcome back to this video series where I'm going to be featuring the art of quilting from Shape Artworks. Hopefully you will have completed your first two blocks, the double four patch and the whirlwind, and have them stored ready for joining in later issues. With this issue you'll be receiving the white spot, blue gingham, blossom and pomegranate fabrics to create the sailboat square. Before you begin, iron all of your fabrics so they're nice and flat, and this will make them easier to work with and improve the overall finish of your quilt. Let's start marking and cutting. As you can see, the fabric here is a bit more intricate than our previous issues. You need to follow the cutting layouts on the inside of your blocks, just so you get the right ones and you fit all of your shapes onto the fabric. As you can see here, where I've joined two together, those are where you wouldn't have any fabric that you need, so I've just coloured them in just so I know to discard them as I'm cutting. As before, we're going to go and cut out our shapes. I'll start with the blossom, and I'm going to go along this pencil line here just to trim them to shape. So you put your hand on top of your cutting ruler, you take your guard off, you run up, you put your guard on, and you do that each and every time you make a cut and turn your fabric. Ruler down, guard off, run up, guard on. I'm just going to go and continue cutting out all my pieces, and I'll see you back here in a moment. Hi, as you can see, we've done all the cutting out and now we've positioned it as the block will be finished. Don't worry that it doesn't look very tidy at the moment. As soon as you start sewing and you take out your seam allowances, it'll become a nice neat little block. So first of all, you need to lay it down with all the right sides facing up, so you can envisage what your block's going to look like. Next thing, you turn all of your triangle sails, white ones, onto your yellow fabric. Now with each one of these, your first step is to pin them. Just make sure everything matches nicely. You've got to be careful because remember you are working with a bias cut on this edge, so you don't want to stretch your fabric out. And then pin at a right angle to that seam. Again, as we've done before, just pop it down where it came out of, and then you know exactly what you're doing and where you are. I'll just show you again. So you pop it together, being careful not to stretch the fabric. Pop your pin in at a right angle to the bias edge, which is the one we're going to be sewing. There we go, and then pop it back down. I'm just going to finish these two off and I'll see you in a moment. So, I've pinned all four of my triangles and I'm now going to sew. As I did before, use my stitch saver and lift my pedal up, go right to the edge and then slowly sew. Stop the needle down just before the pin and take it out and carry on. One thing with these, you do have to sew from that point to that point to create the perfect triangle. So you just need to make sure when you're going through to sew all the way along. And do a couple of stitches off the edge. And then take the next one in. If you do prefer to hand sew your pieces, or you don't have a sewing machine, then you can have a look at this video for a quick instruction of how to do the hand sewing instead. And then when you get to the end of your chain piecing, cut off your stitch saver if you use one, pop it back under. As you can see, we've just chain pieced all of our cells together. I'll see you over at the ironing board in a moment. So as you can see, I've just chain stitched these 4 sails now. I'm just going to iron them open and set them. So each time you want to be ironing onto the yellow. So again, we have that at the top. Nice quick iron to set the seam flat. And then iron open and away from you to iron it open. Repeat these for all 4. And set to the side. So there we have the 4 sails. Now we need to sew them together. So you place them down as you would on the block. And next you want to turn over right side to right side and pin along these 2 seams here. So you just marry each corner up and pin, making sure all the seams are lying in flat and the right way. that back down, pick this one up, and we do exactly the same. So we now have those two there. We'll open up to double check that we've got them the right way round. And I'll just pop off and sew these seams and I'll be back in a moment. So as you can see, I've just chain stitched along those now and cut the seam. Again, we want to iron to the dark, so we have the yellow triangle on top there. Just set the seam down and iron open. You may think to start with that you haven't matched it up right there, but you've still got to take in for your seam allowance on that edge, so don't panic. And then you iron open to the yellow again. So we've now got 2 blocks of sails. So the next thing we want to do is sew them together. So again, right side to right side. You have got quite a bit of seam on this area now, just purely because you've got top and bottom and corners all nestled in together. So it does get a bit tricky, but just put them together, open them to make sure that they match up to start with, and then you can put a pin in. If you can't pin through all of the layers, then pin either side. It's also a good thing when you're sewing that one, because you want it to lie straight, take the pin out about 2 centimetres before you get to it if you're sewing by machine, as that way it'll come out nice and easy and your fabrics will lie flat. Just pop a pin in the ends. And there we go. I'll be back once I've sewn this seam. So, as you can see, I've now gone along that seam. You need to press open onto the dark, so that seam you need to have the yellow at the top. This time give it a really good press to make sure that all of the layers are nice and flat. And then again to the dark side. So you can see now your corners are starting to match and the seam allowance is starting to disappear, so it makes it look a nice sail. We next bring the white side pieces in. So our next point is to fold these over and pin down the outside. You want to make sure that your seams are lying flat and the right way behind. Just pop 3 pins in along the edge. I'll do the same on the other side, matching them up and pinning across the edge. Once this is done, this will create the top half of your block. So I'll see you back here in a moment once I've sewn along these two edges. So as you can see, I've gone down either side of the white sails, just adding the white fabric on. There's a slight change with this one. To cut down on bulk in the middle, you want to actually iron towards the white. So I'm going to press that seam and then iron open. Twist round and do the same on the other side. And that is the top half of this block. Now we're going to concentrate on the bottom half. So you get your pomegranate and your blue gingham. And the next thing is you turn these in on the corners. Just as we did with the white sails, you pin at a right angle to that bias seam, being careful again not to stretch, just so you don't distort the fabric. We'll do exactly the same on this edge. And the next step now is to sew along that seam there and along that seam there. So when they open, you'll have part of the bottom half finished. See you in a moment. So I've just gone across those two edges now and I'm going to iron them open. One thing that we need to be aware of here is we need to iron open to the blue. So you press your seam down, take care to pull it carefully and iron. We'll just do the other seam now and iron open. So that's the bottom half of your boat. So now you take your top and your bottom half, put them together, and then you can pin along the edge, making sure that your seams are pointing the right way. Just match up the edges. If you want, you can also pop one in the middle. Just going to sew along that edge there, and I'll be back in a moment. So I've just gone along that seam now. Again, the difference with this is where the pomegranate is the darker, you need to iron towards the C, which is the blue gingham. So you open it up nicely, making sure that all your seams are open and flat. Now it's time to pin the top and bottom together to create your full block. So here, we're just going to flip that over, making sure that all of the seams are nice and even, so we can pin along the edge. For this one, I'm going to make sure that I pin with this facing up, so as I'm going along I can make sure that all the seams are lying the right way in my machine, so I have no issues with taking it all through. Pin every seam down neatly. I've got a few edges where I'm off by a couple of millimetres, but when we do the trimming at a later issue, that'll all come together, so it'll tidy up the blocks nicely. Right, now I've gone along there, I'm going to sew along this final seam, and I'll see you back here for the completed block. So I've just gone along that last centre seam now. To start with, I'm just going to go over everything and just set all the seams nice and flat before I turn it. Now you want to turn it over and press towards the boat. Double checking that all your seams are running right as you iron it flat. And there we are, that's completed block 3. As you'll see in the picture that's on page 12, the block actually completes up to the edge. That's taken into allowance your 6mm seams that are going to come off these anyway to tidy the block up at the end. So don't worry if yours don't quite come to the end in the picture. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and the sailboat block that we've created. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you'll be notified of our new videos. Further information about crafts at home, the art of quilting and Hache artworks can be found on the social media pages which are listed in the description. Don't forget to join us next week for issue 4 where we'll be making the shoe fly block. Bye for now.